Shalom and welcome to Hebrew Foundations. Today we examine the life of Abraham, a foundational figure in Scripture whose journey of faith and obedience shapes our understanding of Yahuah's covenant promises. Our study will cover key events from Genesis chapters 12 through 25. Before we begin, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to help us spread this important message. A heartfelt thank you to those who continue to support this ministry. May Yahuah bless you abundantly. Parents, we encourage you to use this video as a teaching tool for your children. Now let's begin. In Genesis 12, we encounter Abram at age 75, dwelling in Haran. Yahuah commands him to leave his homeland for an unknown land, promising to make him into a great nation. Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 4 says, Now Yahuah had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great. And thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed, as Yahuah had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. This sublime call illustrates the first act of remarkable faith, as Abram departs with his wife Sarai and his household, trusting solely in Yahuah's word. Yahuah's promise to Abram contained three key elements. 1. The gift of land. 2. The establishment of a great nation. 3. A blessing that would extend to all families of the earth. Upon entering Canaan, Abram faces his first trial, a severe famine that forces him into Egypt. Genesis chapter 12, verses 11 through 20 reads, And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife,
Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee.
And it came to pass that when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman that she was very fair. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abram well for her sake, and he had sheep, and oxen, and he asses, and menservants, and maidservants, and she asses, and camels. And Yahuah plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said,
What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why saidst thou, She is my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife. Now therefore behold thy wife, take her and go thy way.
And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. This episode reveals human weakness, as Abram instructs Sarai to identify as his sister, fearing for his life. Despite this lapse, Yahuah protects them, demonstrating his faithfulness even amid human frailty. After returning from Egypt, Abram and his nephew Lot decided to separate to avoid conflicts arising from disputes between their herdsmen over land. Abram allowed Lot to choose the land he preferred. Lot chooses the fertile plains near Sodom, while Abram remains in Canaan. After this separation, Yahuah reaffirms his covenant with Abram. In Genesis 15, Abram, still childless, receives Yahuah's assurance that his descendants will be as numerous as the stars. And Abram believed in Yahuah, and he accounted it to him for righteousness. However, Abram wanted to understand how he would know that he would receive this inheritance. To seal the covenant, Yahuah instructed Abram to bring a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. Abram cut them in two, placing each piece opposite the other while leaving the birds intact. As the sun began to set, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and with it came a sense of horror and great darkness. Yahuah spoke to Abram, revealing that his descendants would be strangers in a land not their own, where they would serve and be afflicted for 400 years. However, Yahuah promised to judge the nation that oppressed them, and afterward they would leave with great possessions. He assured Abram that he would go to his fathers in peace and be buried at a good old age, and that in the 4th generation his descendants would return to this land. When the sun had fully set and darkness covered the land, a smoking oven and a burning torch appeared, passing between the divided pieces of the sacrifice. On that same day, Yahuah made a covenant with Abram, declaring, "To your descendants I have given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates." This is known as the covenant of the pieces and highlights Yahuah's faithfulness. The Hebrew word for covenant is Bereeth, which is H1285 in the Strong's Concordance, which can mean covenant, alliance, or pledge. Bereeth comes from the root bara, H1262, which can mean to cut or to bind. This directly ties to the ancient custom of cutting animals during covenant ceremonies, symbolizing the binding agreement between the parties. This is beautifully illustrated in Genesis 15, where Yahuah instructed Abram to cut animals in two, to confirm the covenant of his promise to give land and descendants to Abram. The burning flame that passes through the pieces shows that this covenant with Abram was unconditional and solely dependent on Yahuah's faithfulness. At the age of 86, Abram's wife Sarai, still unable to bear children, takes matters into her own hands and gives her maidservant Hagar to Abram as a concubine. Hagar conceives and gives birth to Ishmael. Though this was not Yahuah's intended plan, he assures Abram that Ishmael will be blessed and become a great nation. However, Yahuah makes it clear that the covenant child, through whom his promises will be fulfilled, will come through Sarai. The decision to give Hagar to Abram led to tension and conflict between Sarai and Hagar. Once Hagar conceived, she began to despise Sarai, which caused great distress for Sarai. In her frustration, Sarai dealt harshly with Hagar, causing her to flee into the wilderness. However, a Malik of Yahuah appeared to Hagar, comforting her and instructing her to return to Sarai, promising that her son Ishmael would also be the father of a great nation. This situation illustrates the struggles that arose from trying to fulfill Yahuah's promise through human effort instead of trusting his timing. In Genesis 17, at the age of 99, Abram receives a new name, Abram, meaning father of many nations, as Yahuah reaffirms his covenant. Yahuah establishes the covenant of circumcision as an eternal sign of this agreement, commanding that every male in Abraham's household, including himself, be circumcised. Abraham immediately obeys, circumcising himself, his son Ishmael, and every male in his household, both those born in his house and those bought with money. During this encounter, Yahuah also changes Sarai's name to Sarah, meaning noble woman or princess, and promises that she will bear a son. Upon hearing this, Abraham falls on his face in laughter, marveling at the idea of having a child at 100 years old and Sarah at 90. Despite his astonishment, Yahuah declares that Sarah will indeed bear a son, and his name will be Isaac, through whom the everlasting covenant will be established. In Genesis 18, Sarah also laughs when she overhears this promise, saying to herself, "After I have grown old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord, being old also?" Yahuah responds, asking, "Why did Sarah laugh? Is anything too hard for Yahuah?" This moment shows the extraordinary nature of Yahuah's promise and his ability to fulfill it, even when it seems impossible. At the appointed time, Sarah bears Isaac, and Abraham circumcises him on the 8th day according to the covenant. This birth demonstrates Yahuah's power to fulfill his word, even when circumstances seem impossible by human understanding. In Genesis chapter 21, verses 9 to 10, Sarah observes Ishmael, the son of Hagar, engaging in behavior toward Isaac that she finds troubling. The text states, "And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking." While the exact nature of this mocking is not explicitly detailed, it is often understood as either teasing, hostility, or inappropriate behavior that Sarah viewed as a threat to Isaac's future as the covenant heir. Concerned for Isaac's inheritance, Sarah tells Abraham, "Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac." Though this decision grieves Abraham because Ishmael is his son, Yahuah reassures him, instructing him to listen to Sarah. Yahuah promises to care for Ishmael and make him into a great nation. But he confirms that Isaac is the child of the covenant through whom his promises will be fulfilled. Following Yahuah's guidance, Abraham sends Hagar and Ishmael away. Genesis 22 presents the ultimate test of Abraham's faith. Yahuah commands him to offer Isaac as a burnt offering on Mount Moriah. Abraham's immediate obedience demonstrates his complete trust in Yahuah's character and promises. At this point, Isaac was likely an adult based on the timeline of events. His willingness to participate is equally remarkable, as he could have resisted, but instead chose to trust Yahuah and his father. This act of faith by both Abraham and Isaac shows their complete submission to Yahuah's will. At the crucial moment, Yahuah provides a ram as a substitute, sparing Isaac and establishing a precedent of sublime provision and trust in Yahuah's plans. The scripture records Sarah's death at 127 years and Abraham's purchase of the cave of Machpelah as a burial site. This transaction represents the first legal possession of the promised land. Soon after, Abraham arranges Isaac's marriage to Rebekah, ensuring the covenant line's continuation. After Sarah's death, Abraham marries Keturah and has additional children, though Isaac remains the covenant heir. Abraham passed away at the age of 175, having experienced well over a century of Yahuah's unwavering faithfulness and a life marked by steadfast trust and obedience. Abraham's life shows us the fundamental principles of faith and obedience. Through trials, promises, and fulfillment, we observe Yahuah's unchanging character and the importance of steadfast trust in His Word. This concludes our study of Abraham. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to support this ministry. Until next time, Shalom, and may Yahuah's blessings be with you all.